I know you guys are busy, smart, educated people, and you have limited time. And I'm really here just trying to give you the key parts of the information so that you stay informed, you drive savvy, and you save money, right? And avoid the frustrations when it comes to the accident repair process and just navigating car sales and the automobile industry as a whole. Welcome back to my channel, Cohen's Auto Collision channel. We've been doing a lot of different developments. So when I say we, I really mean me. But I do have a team. But when it comes to the YouTube channel, I've been trying to figure out what type of format I want to give you guys. And basically, I like the podcast format. And I think like what I'm doing here might be a kind of podcast type format. So, I'm going to try to give you some more things like this, as well as maybe some in shop scenes, cutaways, voiceovers of me just working throughout the day and moving throughout my process. I might give you a blend of the two, but basically, I'm trying to figure out what it is that may appeal to you that might keep you watching because I think I have some important information to share. So today's video is mostly going to be about, you know, making sure that you have an idea of what's going on in the world as a whole. But I know you guys are busy, smart, educated people, and you have limited time. And I'm really here just trying to give you the key parts of the information so that you stay informed, you drive right. So I think everyone needs to keep their finger on the pulse of the industry because most people drive, right? And you own a car, especially if you own a car. So doing that, keeping your finger on the pulse of what's going on, starts from seeing what's going on in the world, right? And the decisions that the world's making and the direction that we're moving towards and how that kind of informs the industry or the things that you are interested in, right? The things that are important to you and your family life. So today's video, like I said, is really I'm trying to flesh out how to bring the right type of content to you guys, what's going to keep you engaged and keep you educated and informed at the same time. So, okay, so today I had to take some notes because there's a lot of things, a lot of different research points, a lot of different market insights that I think will help you guys moving along in your just driver journey, your car owner journey, your car insurance lifespan, all of that, rental car interactions, tow truck interactions, anything automobile related. I'm trying to be the guy that kind of gives you information, practical, useful information that, everyday people go through. And hopefully giving you this information, like I said, will save you time, money, and frustration. Full transparency, I use AI. If you're not using AI, you're going to get left behind. And I'm using AI basically to help organize my thoughts and give you guys a more like organized, concise way of approaching things, right? And I suggest you do the same thing, right? Like if you are studying anything and you decide to take some notes, feel free to throw it in like Chat GPT or whatever AI that you're using and let it flesh out more information, write it more clearly, cite sources, you know what I mean? Find sources. So that will be foolproof, will make it so that people know that you're using credible sources to inform your decisions. And what I'm doing here is I'm bringing together basic like my experience running a body shop in the industry and the research that I've been doing about other people and their shops out there and where the industry is moving as a whole. So that's why I'm saying, you can do that same thing in whatever industry you were in if you're an entrepreneur. You know what I mean? And just help it inform your business moves and strategies. So that's what I'm doing right now, and I'm trying to share with you guys some useful insights that I think will help you be a better driver, right? Better savvy car buyer, and so forth. First thing I asked my AI was, if it could find me some like controversial, undercovered by media things that are going on in the automobile industry. And one thing that it hit me with was the supply chain disruption. Now, if you guys remember that, I don't want to get too deep into that, but if you remember that, there were like chip shortages and all this type of manufacturing issues, and then there was like ships that turned sideways in a port at some point, and blocked up the whole supply chain and created delays on top of delays. So it's not being really talked about right now, but those things haven't like gone away. We still having some, issues with creating some of the technology, and especially when it comes to the EVs, they're still working on making the batteries better, and those kind of things. Kind of reducing consumer confidence in these electric vehicles, but at the same time, we have alternatives. We have like hybrids that are right in the middle that allow you to kind of have best of both worlds. But I'll get more into that. But the underreported things, not so much big in the media, is the supply chain challenges, the EV and electrification, and the growth of that. That's in the media. I mean, you definitely see that, but what I don't think you see much is what I talked about with the shift to hybrids, because they're still developing that technology, and people like, they'll get a little gas, and when their gas runs out, it'll chip into electric, and it ends up saving them from going into uh, the gas station as often. I mean, because they have this alternative that allows them to get more mileage. But anyway, so the hybrids are doing well because of that, and rental markets are being affected. The industry is experiencing a pullback from a rapid growth seen in previous years because of high vehicle costs and increased insurance rates that are affecting profitability and consumer choices. Like, I saw that firsthand. I was working with the company, and the company that I was working with, they they basically were insured by a company that just dropped everybody in New York. And excuse me, and when they dropped everybody in New York, um, a lot of smaller rental car companies were struggling to find new insurance, and that, you could imagine, disrupted a lot of their business. So that kind of cost a lot of them to go out of business, and for the bigger chains to grow, because they're reliable, they have the money to get insured with whoever, and so that kind of affected the market and limited consumer choice. So now you guys kind of are stuck with um, going to these big chains like Enterprise and Hertz, but if you have a smaller rental car company that has navigated or figured it out, like Velocity, for example, shameless plug, where we've figured out how to get rental cars and get cheap rental insurance and provide them in a place where, you know, um, the big chains are dominating, right? So we're trying to bring back some of the power, some of the consumer choice, right? So you're not just limited to having to go to the big box chains like Enterprise and Hertz. Um, what else is going on here that's underreported? Rental market, I mentioned that. Okay. the consumer behavior shifts. Like I said, because of all of this stuff, with new and used car prices going up, um, consumers are adopting to extend the life of their current vehicle. So that trend highlights the importance for reliable repair services. We'll already be familiar with your vehicle. We'll know where we can get the parts. It'll save time. It'll save money. It'll save frustration. Trust me. Economic pressure is right. The industry is grappling with low economic growth, reduced vehicle finance options, and high energy costs, contributing to a global vehicle shortage and increased car prices. Well, the increased car price, that's a whole different situation. Like, I believe that the automaker or manufacturing market, like the dealers and stuff like that, they're overcharging people. But this also because there's like more technology in these new cars, things that are keep drivers safe. Actually, accidents have been going down due to some of these new systems like ADAS, like ADAS, something like that. But anyway, these systems that help you drive safer or might maybe stop before you run into the back of someone. So, you got to start considering that those things and those technologies cost more to make. And so if you get into an accident, it's going to cost more to fix. So, high energy costs and things like that, and inflation really play a role in what's going on with the car prices as well. The tariffs, the taxes that maybe the new administration might impose, it could even make it worse. And as you can see already, there are a lot of cars on the lot of these dealerships and they're going nowhere. And if you look at the stats, they've been sitting there for a really long time, and it's indicative of these high prices. And the manufacturers have to do something and figure out how to reduce cost of production so that they're not charging these customers. But I think some of them are overpriced, and you can see that when they're able to chop off $5,000, $10,000 off the price, and they want to say it's just to move inventory, but I'm like, no, I think you guys could have did that from the beginning. So anyway, moving right along, the automotive industry, including car sales, rentals, and repair processes, can be significantly influenced by executive orders and policies from current administrations. Um, there's a lot of things going on here. I'm not going to read through it, but I have about 5 facts in here about regulatory changes, trade policies, infrastructure investments, economic policies, and labor and employment stuff, and how that might relate to, the car industry, and specifically for my purposes, the car repair market, the rental market, and all the businesses that I'm involved in, sales, car sales. So, and I went in here and I asked my Dexter, my data analyst, for with my AI that I bought for my business. I asked her, I said, hey man, what are some of Trump's executive orders that could affect the industry, right? And this is, again, thinking from that top down approach of what kind of world policies are being made, how that's going to trickle down and affect how the entrepreneurs and businesses operate, and then how that trickle down and affect how the consumers, the customers operate. And specifically in my industry, in auto collision repair, so, and the rest of the broader industry. But immigration policies, new executive orders have been signed to reform immigration systems, um, which could affect labor availability in the industries reliant on immigrant workers, such as automotive manufacturing and repair services. DEI programs, executive orders have been issued to end diversity, equity, and inclusion programs within the federal government. These changes might influence corporate policies and practices across industries, including the automotive, as companies reassess the DEI strategy. Trade and tariffs. Spoke about that already. Although not explicitly detailed in the available sources, trade policies often play a significant role in executive orders. Changes here could impact the cost and availability of automotive parts and vehicles, affecting sales and repair processes. Right. Lastly, environmental regulations. While specific details are scarce, executive orders related to environmental policies can influence the automotive industry's shift towards electric vehicles and emission standards. Now, just to highlight the emission standards, I think if you think about that, that's what's driving a lot of the EV incentives, because we have these emission standards of being a greener planet, and it's necessary. I mean, we're seeing the effects, I think, of global warming and all of that, right? Snow in Texas and Georgia and all types of stuff. So, or South Carolina. So, like, you're definitely seeing the effects of global warming, and so the policies are shaping how the manufacturers are moving, right? Um, so yeah, so we're moving along right with that. I got a lot of this information from Axios, um, in the White House's official site. So cite my sources here. I'm not just telling you guys things that I haven't looked up and heavily researched, right? But like I said, the AI helps me to organize everything, because if I was to, this video would be like 3 hours if I was supposed to give you all the information that I researched individually. I'm trying to consolidate it here, and Dexter helps me do that, right? So here are some notable executive orders that will affect the automotive industry. Ending the EV mandate. We heard about that, right? President Trump has rolled back the mandate that required 50% of new cars to be electric by 2030. This change could affect the slowdown in the transition to electric vehicles and impact manufacturers who have been investing heavily in the EV technology. Yeah. Also, I think that's going to affect the car repair market, because now, people are going to be like, huh, well, I guess we're not pushing for that by 2030, so I'm going to hold on to my car, or I'm going to get a hybrid, or what have you. And all these cars still have the same type of metals on them. Maybe some of them have changed to um, aluminum with some of the parts, and UHSS, ultra high steel, um, versus just high steel. These different things, it could really affect manufacturing, which will trickle down to how parts are available and the whole timeline and repair process, right? Um, so anyway, and that's kind of like as a result of EVs being slowed down. So it could be a good or a bad thing, because then that means people are also going to be holding on to their original cars, which they're already parts and people are already manufacturing and shipping, and then there's already a channel and a supply chain to get those things in a reasonable time span, already. So I mean, these newer vehicles, I think, are facing more of a challenge, when it comes to the EV mandate affecting manufacturing. Um, anyway, energy policy. The unleashing of American energy. Executive order aims to boost domestic energy production, which could affect fuel prices and automotive industries. Focus on fuel efficiency and alternative energy vehicles. Right. So they're saying, um, it costs a lot for us to produce energy. All right. We have high energy costs. So they're trying to figure out ways. I think this new administration wants to drill and find more oil on federal lands and things like that. But then there's other people who are kind of saying, no, that's why we need to invest in making the electric vehicles, or working on the battery technology, so that the electric vehicles are ready and efficient enough, and so we can get those on the road as soon as possible, right? So that, I feel like there's a little tug of war with the energy policies, but ultimately this might if we're able to find the energy, right? Because it's going to take energy to find the energy. So it depends on how that works. But I think with the investments in AI and battery and electric technology, eventually, AI or something is going to figure out how to make these batteries better. And, electric cars are going to be like the standard. Combustible engines are just going to be a nightmare to deal with. And it's going to force the repair industry to have to learn how to repair these things and deal with these cars that are more smart or electrified. Um, so yeah, that's my little insight into it. I also have something at the end that I wrap up in a little concise thing, and I'll provide in the description below. But some other things are vehicle pollution standards. There are executive orders targeting vehicle pollution standards, which might lead to less stringent emissions regulations. This could impact the development and sale of cleaner vehicles. Right. So basically, what I'm getting from this is some of the executive orders from the energy policy and the vehicle pollution standards under this new administration is aiming to kind of roll back the incentives for a greener or cleaner environment or society, basically. And you know they're rolling back some of that. I don't necessarily see why from here, but it seems like they want to find oil and find their own oil and help them save by doing it like that, versus put development and research towards getting these EVs out there and on the road. And it might just be a conflict in ideals, and knowing that EVs have already kind of entered the market, there just might be enough of them now to kind of say, hey, hold on a little bit. But hey, it's really, it's a complicated situation. When I think about how it affects the repair market, we just have to be prepared to deal with EVs and combustible engines. Um, you know, which in the repair world is basically, um, still the same thing when it comes to the outside and the body of the car, right? Just different metals we're dealing with. But having new technology in there, you have to know how to disconnect and reconnect and calibrate, recalibrate, and have a mechanic or someone in your network that knows how to deal with the ADAS systems. Um, so yeah, um, there's a lot going on here, but if you know how to take what's going on in the world and relate it to your business, it helps, right? And I'm just, everybody has a car. So whoever has a car, this information is relevant to you. I mean, maybe not so deep into the collision repair details that I'm giving people, but it definitely helps to know that this is the push and that they're going to try to get you, the consumer, to get in these electric vehicles, and you have to decide if that makes sense for you. But I think it makes sense as a whole for us to consider the electric vehicles if we're considering the environment and this planet that we live on, right? So that's why I think there's been so many incentives for getting these EVs on the road, because as a whole we want to take care of our planet. So yeah, that's why there's a big push towards that. Anyway, the back to work mandate for federal workers issued by President Trump in 2025 requires many government employees to return to in office work. While specific impacts of the auto repair industry aren't detailed in the available sources, we can infer some potential effects. And this is why I love AI and ChatGPT, because Thank you. Like, thank you so much. Like, yes, this is what I'm doing. It kind of knows me and knows that this is what I want to do anyway. So it elaborates along the line of thinking that I already have. And this is golden for me, right? Because as it says to you here, um, while specific impacts of the auto repair industry aren't detailed in the available sources, that basically means that you read that whole article, but not necessarily hear how it relates to you, but you can make some um, inferences, some potential inferences on how it may affect your life, right? And you know your life because you're leading it, right? You're in it. I'm an entrepreneur, business owner of an auto collision, and every day I deal with the auto repair industry, right? So if I really think about that, and if you really think about what you do and how these policies affect you, you'll be able to navigate this thing we call life better. And that's what I'm here trying to help people do, right? I'm trying to help the most people that I can navigate the accident repair process, the whole car rental, car buying, car selling, car repairing matrix, right? So keeping my finger on the pulse of the industry. Um, Increased commuting is going to start as a result of, like, that's obvious, right? Increased commuting, everybody got to get back to work. So with more federal workers commuting to offices, there could be an increase in vehicle usage, leading to high demand for maintenance and repair services due to the wear and tear. Traffic congestion, increased traffic in urban areas might lead to more accidents, potentially boosting demand for collision repair services. That's good for me. Economic activity. The mandate might stimulate economic activity in areas with high concentration of federal offices, indirectly benefiting local auto repair shops through increased business from commuting employees. Thank you, Dexter. Like, this is just letting me know where to position myself as well, right? If I know this is going to be happening, maybe I want to market myself in these areas more often, right? People are gonna be going to work now. Maybe I'll put a big old sign outside, right by the highway, because that's where we're located, right off exit 21 of the southern state, where it's just like, hey, I'm here to help, insurance claims, because a lot of people don't even know, like the different services that we offer. We just don't do car repairs. We also have a tow truck if you need it. We also have rentals. So there's a lot of different things that we provide to the community. You know, we are a dealership now as well. We're partnered with a dealership, so we can buy you cars. We can take you to the auction. We can get you financed, leased. We can help you, and we already have a relationship with you because we fix your cars. So, yeah, and we've probably been fixing cars for years. So, but now all body shops are open to do that, and now all of them have this whole matrix and system figured out to help it be a seamless process. So you end up going to five different people, and it's all related to cars, right? You go to a different guy to buy your car, you go to a different guy to sell your car, you go to a different guy to repair your car. If it's an accident, it's a different guy. Then if it's a mechanical stuff, you go to a different guy, right? Because mechanics and repair shops are different, right? Collision repair shops. So it's just like you get so many different people, it gets hard to trust. So that's just my insight on it, right? Real life insight from being in the game. So, okay, traffic and congestion and economic activity. The mandate might stimulate economic activity in the area. High concentration of federal offices, indirectly benefiting local auto repair shops to increase businesses from commuting employees. Fleet maintenance. Government vehicle fleets used for commuting and official duties might require more frequent maintenance and repairs, offering opportunities for repair shops with government contracts. That's great for the bigger shops, right? They'll be able to they'll know that these, you know, big trucks are going to be moving a lot more often, delivering goods and whatever to keep the world moving, right? The veins, um, red blood cells of the world. You know, they get you your fresh croissant in the morning to that store in Brooklyn that you like, right? Fresh every day. Stuff like that, you know, or your coffee beans, whatever it is. So these are all speculative things, right? Inferences that I've made and my AI has made, and I agree with it because it's I've been building in my information in there and putting these things together and asking it to do this, right? It's an analyst. So they highlight how policy changes can ripple through industries, including the auto repair one. And that's it, you know. And I've been making some blog posts, and I'm going to start posting them on my website, cohensauto.com. And let me hit you with some stats. The hidden cost of ignoring collision damage, a $210 billion industry insight. Explore the financial implications of delaying vehicle repairs after an accident. Highlight how the auto collision repair market is projected to grow to 210 billion by 2028, emphasizing the importance of the timely intervention to avoid escalating repair costs. Incorporate case studies and statistics from Cohen's car care crash course to illustrate how early repairs can save money and extend vehicle lifespan. Hmm. All right, so cool. This video has been going on for a while, so cool. Let me start with this real quick. Here are some credible sources and statistics that could help support your points, right? No, we'll scrap that. Okay. Cool. Let me hit you guys with some stats, some important stats. Um, and I like to hit people with stats so you guys know I'm getting these things from some credible sources, like people that do this. I'm not just, going off the top of my head, but I do grab information and articles from people that really, do this all they do. They're experts in their industries. And then I couple that with the experience in my life from being an entrepreneur and a business owner in the auto collision repair industry, right? And so market growth, according to the business research company, the automotive collision repair market is expected to grow to 208.85 billion in 2024 to 216 billion in 2025 at a CAGR of 3.6%. This growth underscores the increasing demand for a repair service as vehicle use continues to rise. Okay, future projections. Global Newswire projects that the global automotive collision repair market will reach a valuation of 246 billion by 2033. This indicates a sustained upward trend driven by factors such as increased vehicle ownership and advancement in vehicle technology. Cool. Sorry. All right, let me wrap this up. Okay, so like I said, I'm gonna provide like a document below that kind of wraps up all my research. Um, I'm gonna put some of it in the description below, or maybe I'm gonna put some of my sources in the description below. But either way, I'm gonna be creating content and documents, PDFs, and I'll show you guys or leave links below my description for where you can grab these things so that you can download them to your phone, have them ready for wherever you may need it. Say you end up in this situation and you think of me, you can just jump on my YouTube, or you can, if you already went to my website, you can just go to the website, download a document, and follow it step by step on how to go through whatever situation it is that you're in that's related to the car repair market. Um, okay, so navigating the collision industry, adapting to changes in the landscape of the whole automobile car market. Today is the automotive landscape is rapidly evolving, and the collision industry faces a lot of challenges and opportunities. Um, Regulatory changes, economic policies, and consumer trends are reshaping how we approach car sales, rentals, and repairs. And at Cohen's and Velocity, we recognize the importance of staying ahead of the changes to provide the best service to our customers, because that's key. Um, I'm reading a little bit because I think it's just better. I'm saying it better, and I know it, and I'm gonna practice not having to read. But I think it's key for this type of information to come across clear. And I'm not always reading in all my videos, but I think right now it's important that I get these information across to you clearly, and it's going to be up on YouTube forever, so you can go back and use it as a reference, because I'm making these things for you guys to use them as a reference. And hopefully YouTube transcribes this stuff properly, so you can go to the key parts that are most important to you, because it's going to be a long video, this one, right? I just know already. But I make the long form content and then chop it up into smaller, more digestible things. And when you guys have time, you come back and digest as much as you can. Binge watch or whatever you want to do. But the key thing is for you to get the information that's going to help you save time, money, and frustration when it comes to cars in general, right? So back to navigating the collision industry, all right? Um, the first thing I talked about, first thing I'm going to talk about is a streamlined repair process. I think this is like paramount, very important for the collision owners to think about, and just people in the collision industry. And it's a streamlined repair process, especially when we start having to compete with the dealerships teaming up with bigger box body shops and things like that, and the smaller shops are getting like woven out. I think to keep that interest from growing too big, and keeping the power in the hands of the people, is for the local body shops to develop these relationships with their consumers and their customers, which they already have. So nurture them, and then create a better process for them that helps streamline the process. And I'm already doing that, and I saw the light about 6 years ago that is exactly what you're supposed to do. And basically, a streamlined process is what is key right now, right? Very key. And to be honest, certain people can afford a streamlined process, certain people can't. And it's really up to the body shops, the smaller ones, if they want to stay competitive and alive, to develop the same type of streamlined process that the bigger and wealthier shops can provide for their wealthier client. And that is, I think, what will keep the smaller body shops alive and help them grow, and you know help them provide for their family, and also improve the community and bring money back into the community because of the savings they're providing people and the time they're saving as well for people. So anyway, efficiency is key in the collision repair industry. By developing a more efficient repair process matrix that includes assessment, towing, insurance inspection, repairs, parts ordered, and rentals, we can mitigate delays and reduce costs for consumers. This approach emphasizes the importance of communication and coordination to avoid additional expenses related to prolonged repair times. Trump's executive orders focusing on deregulation could streamline some of these processes, potentially reducing bureaucratic delays. It's a good thing. Listen, that's a good thing. I'm not even gonna fight about it. Focus on older vehicles. With high new car prices and persistent supply chain issues, consumers are maintaining older vehicles longer. I talked about that earlier in the video. This trend increases demand for repair services and parts for these vehicles. Repair shops can capitalize on this by ensuring access to necessary parts and expertise in servicing older models. Familiar with your cars. According to Motor Intelligence, the global car rental market reached approximately 90 billion in 2023, highlighting the growing demand for flexible car access. Executive orders that impact trade policies could affect the availability and cost of parts for older vehicles. Right. So, um, highlighting the growing demand for flexible car access. Um, yeah, there's a growing demand for flexible car access. However, there's a consolidation of who can provide flexible car access. So, and it's by, I think they're doing it on purpose, right? They're making it more difficult so that only a few people are able to benefit from this growing demand, right? Who's going to provide the solutions? Um, and I think if you have a good network, right? A tow guy in your network that's very responsive. You have a good rental car company, or you also have a rental car company in your network. All of this, I mean, or you own a rental car company, you know what I mean? And as well as you own a repair shop or something like that, you end up providing a lot of time saved for the customer. And often that is what costs them more money in an already frustrating and expensive situation. Um, let's see. So, like I said, you know, to go right into the next topic, aftermarket and in-house manufacturing, right? So the scarcity of older car parts presents an opportunity for innovation in the aftermarket sector. Companies like LKQ are leading the way. Let me stick a pin in that. Um, Basically, from what I was saying before, people want more options. But their options are going to be limited because there are only a certain amount of providers who can provide these options, right? So, what I'm saying is innovation could help change that, and innovation when it comes to creating a better process when it comes to the mom and pop or the smaller local body shops, and or a network, where we can provide the same type of service as maybe the dealership, right? Where they can just give you a loaner, right? That's basically a rental car, right? While they fix yours, right? A lot of people don't do that because of how much the dealership might charge you, right? And then we have insurance that pays for those kind of things. So it's like maybe the dealership's not even charging you your insurance. The dealership's charging your insurance, so you don't really have to worry about that. But there's always these extra fees, and if you're affluent, you're not worried about those extra fees, right? The bulk of the cost of the repairs falls on the insurance, and whatever extra is basically what you wanted, and you can afford it. But that's not the case for the majority of people, right? The majority of people have to sometimes, um, you know, get their cars done fast so they can get back to work, so they can make money. And they don't want no anything extra done. Or if they do want extra done, it's in alignment with their desire, and it doesn't affect, their overall life and getting back to work and back on the road. Um, but for the most part, it's just fix the damage that was there, and if you can throw something in there, we'll take it. But it's not like we need super luxury service. But I believe that that will help them save money if the shops are more efficient in this and streamlined in their processes. But to get back to the aftermarket sector can also help if they improve their processes as well. And LKQ, companies like LKQ are leading the way by utilizing 3D printing and in-house manufacturing to produce parts, significantly reducing costs and improving repair times. Right, this approach aligns with our commitment to providing reliable services within reasonable time frame. Changes in trade policies under Trump's administration could incentivize more domestic production, benefiting in-house manufacturing efforts. So, like I was saying, you know, if companies like LKQ can start reducing how long it takes for a part to be ordered and get to the body shop so repairs can be done sooner than later, they'll help in the whole process. And, you know, maybe the way this new administration is running, they're going to incentivize, you know, America first building and things like that. And, if you can think about it, right? If the aftermarket suppliers can make their own parts and don't have to ship them from China or wherever they're coming from through the supply chain, and wait for them to come over on the boats, um, you know, the time and money saved on getting it, back onto a damaged car and repaired, like it'll definitely save people money and time. Trust me. And it'll get the process going more efficient. Um, Hybrid vehicle popularity, EV growth. I am tired of talking about EVs. It's everywhere and it's getting on my nerves, to be honest. Like, it's like EV this, EV that, and I don't even think we're completely confident in it yet. Which is why the hybrids, I think, are doing well if you look at the numbers. But then again, some of the hybrids are expensive. So, you still see a lot of these cars sitting on the lots, but hybrids by themselves are doing well. Because you kind of get best of both worlds. But as electrification progresses, hybrids are gaining popularity due to their balance of traditional and electric power. Repair shops should be prepared to service these vehicles, offering a transitional solution until battery technology is fully developed. Infrastructure investments, particularly in EV charging stations, are incentivizing the adoption of electric vehicles, affecting both car sales and rental market. The government's focus on emissions, reductions, and environmental sustainability is driving this shift, encouraging manufacturers to produce cleaner vehicles. Executive orders promoting an energy independence might shift focus away from EVs, impacting their growth trajectory. So that's something to consider with the EV market. But I've been saying all this stuff from the beginning, from the top of the video. And if I'm losing some energy, forgive me. My mouth's looking dry, forgive me. I'm just trying to get this information out. It's been a while since I've given y'all a video. I have a lot of content, but it's about editing it, putting it together, and putting it out there. With my busy schedule, trust me, it's hard. So thank you for staying tuned. And if you're here to this far, I appreciate you. If you are here this far, I appreciate you. Hit the like, share, subscribe button below so you can stay tuned to all my latest videos and all the new ones that are going to be coming out. And so you can circle back and look at the old ones, and inform yourself. Um, Trade policies and supply chain challenges. I think I talked about that already, but like I said, this document I'm going through is like wrapping everything all up, all my research, and trying to consolidate it a little bit and something digestible for you guys. You know what I mean? Economic policies and incentives. Economic policies are pivotal in shaping the automotive industry's future. Incentives for EV adoption and infrastructure development are pushing both consumers and manufacturers towards greener solutions. However, navigating these incentives requires a strategic approach to avoid excessive costs in repairs, purchases, or rentals. Executive orders that alter tax incentives for EVs could shift consumer and manufacturer priorities, which could affect their behaviors, right? Which is the next category, consumer behavior shift. Consumer, that's you and me, right? And believe it or not, I'm not immune to this stuff. Even though I'm reading about it, I know about it, and I know it could happen to me. It'll still happen to me, and I'm not even realizing it. And so this is for me and you, and maybe I should have started with this, but this is very important, I think, for all of us, right? The behave, the consumer behavior shifts, right? That's how they expect us to start acting. And believe it or not, we start acting like that. And just embrace it, right? Embrace it and know you're going to start acting like this, or your neighbor will. And see it and, you know that it's happening and react accordingly, right? Like being aware that it's happening, it can give you some insights into navigating it better and to kind of controlling how your outcome happens, um, instead of it just letting it happen to you and letting it happen to you and you weren't even aware of what's going on, right? But let's let's go back into what it is exactly. Consumer behavior shifts. Consumer behavior is shifting towards maintaining current vehicles longer due to high new car prices and supply chain issues. This trend is supported by the rise in hybrid vehicle purchases as consumers seek the benefit of both traditional and electric power. Manufacturers are responding by prioritizing hybrid and EV production, driven by new infrastructure incentives and mandates for a greener future. According to the NHTSA, the fatality rate for the first 9 months in 2024 decreased to 1.18 fatalities per 100 million vehicle miles traveled, highlighted the impact of improved vehicle safety and changing driving patterns. Executive orders that impact environmental regulations could influence consumer preferences and manufacturer strategies. So, to go back into what I was saying, you know, the behavior of people is shifting, and that might already be happening to you. You might be already making that decision unconsciously or consciously by being like, you know what, I'm just gonna make sure I take care of this car I got right here. Old Betsy is getting me from point A to point B, and I make my money and I go back home, and sometimes I go out with it, like it, and it's reliable, right? So I'm gonna take care of it. I might put a new like fender on it because it's looking bad or it's been making a sound. Let me get it to the mechanic. I'm not buying a new car and then having a new monthly payment, new insurance rate, all this stuff. Like so, there's I am you and you are me. Like we are the same, folks. We go through the same stuff. I'm sure that probably happened to somebody in your family or you, and it's just true, right? And these things are happening. Like people are maintaining their old cars, and if you got money, you might get a hybrid. Like let's and the manufacturers are like, oh, they're incentivizing EVs. Let's make more EVs, like because they're giving tax breaks if the business creates these or works with EVs or whatever. So they're pushing for these things to happen. But the good thing is the new technologies are making it safer, right? People are dying less on the road due to car accidents. you know. And it's not just the EVs; it's the smart cars. I know we've been on EVs, but it's the smart technology in the cars and the ADAS system. I hope I'm saying the acronym right, but it's basically the driver safety system. Um, that are in the cars, the stuff that'll brake for you or tell you if somebody's in your next lane or if you're shifting lanes. The older cars don't necessarily have that, right? So they're less expensive, but because people are holding on to their older cars, they're getting more expensive because there's more demand. Because those cars are on the road still, they're getting in accidents, and then that causes more demand for parts to fix those older cars. So that's why it's starting to trend up, to where the older cars are starting to get more expensive to fix. Um, I don't think it's necessarily because like those parts are getting more expensive. It's because the demand for those parts is increasing, and maybe the supply is down, and you got to wait for them to manufacture some new ones. And the older they get, the harder it is to remanufacture them because they're manufacturing newer models, and they might not make some of them anymore, and then it makes it even more scarce, the availability of those parts for the older cars. So it's a very complicated thing, and the nuances you'll see, or I'll see, because I'm in the industry, and that's why I'm trying to share it with you guys. So yeah, labor and employment dynamics, executive orders, telling people to get back to work. I think this is the most obvious one, right? More people on the road, more congestion, more traffic, potential for more accidents. Um, Changes in the labor policy could also affect workforce availability and costs in the repair industry. Um, Industry insights from Copart and IAA. I know a lot of you deal with Copart and IAA, or you know about it, right? For the hustlers, entrepreneurs out there, rental car guys, flippers, car flippers, whatever. Um, Copart has reported a 12.4% increase in total service revenue and vehicle sales in 2024, reflecting the growing need for efficient repair and auction services. Digital Commerce 360 is the source. Meanwhile, IAA's strategic expansions highlight the industry's adaptation to increase demand for salvage and repairable vehicles.